Hey, how's it going, everybody? So this video we're going to be talking about debt optimization, coupled with a look at what a small investment over a long period of time can look like come retirement years. So in this first tab, we're going to look at the minimums and the optimized concepts for someone who has 7 sources of debt. So this person has a federal student loan, a state student loan, a car loan, they finance a piece of furniture, and they have 3 credit cards, right? And this is a pretty realistic situation for a lot of young adults nowadays coming from college or whatnot. And then we come over here to column B, we have all of the totals of the debt, almost $37,000. Here are the interest rates, the minimum monthly payments that are calculated based on the interest rates, the debt amount, and the length of the loan. And then you have the minimum percentages paid. So credit cards require you to pay whatever minimum percentage that they have, and that fluctuates. The minimum payment fluctuates based on the total debt amount, right? All right, here are the lengths of each one of these loans, or the amount of time it would take to pay it off based on the minimums. And so the average for this example is 9.2 years. That's how long on average it's going to take to pay all of this off. And this is how much money you're going to spend in interest, almost $16,000, right? And so it's pretty close to almost half of what your actual debt amount is. By the time you're done, you're going to end up spending $52,000 because you had $36,000 of debt. It's a pretty insane amount. For people who have multiple sources of debt like this or open lines of credit that they keep adding money to, and they don't do some sort of simple calculations like this, then they're never really going to get that full grasp of how much money they're actually going to be wasting long term because of all these different sources. So this video hopefully will help you see that by doing a little bit of math and figuring out some optimized methods of setting up your budget, you can really make a big difference without spending a lot of extra money. All right, so then let's go down here, right, and let's look at the optimized debts. So same exact ones, same exact totals, same interest rates. However, this is where it starts to change, right? So the length until paid. I wanted to get it down to about an average of 5 years. So I wanted to try to cut the amount of time in half. And you would think, okay, so you're cutting the length of these loans or these debts in half, then it's probably going to double the payment, right? Well, that's just not true. The reason is because a lot of these loans, besides the credit cards, right, have amortized debts, meaning you're going to pay the interest off first. So if you have a 15-year loan, you're going to spend the majority of this time paying off the interest first until you even get to the principal. So the faster you can pay off these debts, the less interest you're going to be paying. So we really wanted to drastically reduce the amount of years we were paying on all of these amortized loans. And then if you look over here, each one changing, so we cut off 4 years here, took off $600, almost $700. You look up here, and we almost cut this one in half, and it took about almost half this interest away. And the car loan, we left it the same, and that's just a strategic choice. Of course, we didn't touch the finance piece of furniture because it's 0% the entire way through, and then we adjusted the credit cards as well. And so you look at the monthly payments, and right here is the total where you're paying $650 in minimums versus the optimized version where you're paying $875. So it's a difference of $217. So for $217 extra a month, you're going to cut 3.6 years off your average. You're going to save yourself $7,600, right? And so that's a pretty big difference. So which ones did we choose to optimize? Why did we choose those? And everything like that, right? So let's look at the first one, the federal student debt. The amount of interest being paid is the third highest, so it's definitely one of the ones we wanted to focus on. We cut off 4 years, and all we did was raise the minimum monthly payment by $22. So $22 an extra a month, not a huge deal, saving ourselves quite a bit of money in the interest paid, and we're going to pay it off a lot faster. So that was not a very drastic difference. The state debt, the state student debt was by far our biggest interest. So we wanted to kind of focus on this more than the other ones. So you can see we increased it by $75 between the minimum and the new optimized. So $75, that's a big difference. However, if you look, we cut off $4,000 of interest being paid, and we reduced the loan by 7 years. So this one was definitely the biggest one that we focused on because it was costing us the most. And so if you can't afford $875, this is still the one you would want to keep as far as being optimized, right? All right, down to the car loan. We did not touch this one. Why? Because when you start doing the math, and we'll put the sources or links in the comments tab, when you do the math on this one, in order to reduce 948 to almost half of that, you'd have to pay almost 100 something more dollars a month. And if you had paid that extra 100 on top of this 200, then you would drastically reduce this one way more, right? So it's all about figuring where you want to put your money and where it's going to save you the most. So that's why we left this one the same, because it didn't really change a whole lot, and it was costing us actually the most to reduce. So we left it the same. We didn't touch the home furniture. So coming down to the credit cards, as you can see here, we increased our own personal percentages paid. So you can see 253, we have 456, so we pretty much doubled these two and left the Best Buy alone. So for Capital One, 16% interest rate, so that's pretty high. The minimum monthly payment was pretty low, 23. So we basically doubled the minimum monthly payment, which only added $23, was not a whole lot. We cut the length of time in half, and we saved ourselves about $800 in interest being paid. So for doubling it, we're actually getting quite a big benefit from that. The Best Buy card was already pretty low, so it was the lowest interest being paid. So once again, we just completely left that as it is, and we wanted to focus on the other ones that would save us the most money. And so we come down here to USAA. We doubled our percentage again, so we went from $97 to almost $200 a month, cut our time in half, and now we're only paying $1,000 instead of $3,000. So USAA, Capital One, and the student debt, the state student debt, were pretty much our biggest interest being paid, and we wanted to focus on those three, and we did. And you can see here, instead of $15,000, now we're only paying $8,000. So for $217 extra a month, we're taking off 3.5 years, and we're saving ourselves $7,600. And so by the end of this one, we'll end up paying $44,900 instead of $52,600. So pretty big difference. Didn't really take too much time to set this up. Like I said in the previous video, if you get all this information beforehand, you can log into the links that we have below and kind of start playing around with it, seeing what these debts and what these loans are going to do if you start paying X amount instead of the minimums. And then you can come up with your own plan. And then you take these monthly payments and then you plug it into your budget and see if they're feasible, and there you go. So that's how you kind of play around with your debts, and you figure out how to optimize it in a very realistic situation. Alright, so on to the investment. So while you're paying off your debts, it's not a terrible idea to start your investments off early. So the best investments are long-term investments where you have time to let the interest compound over time. So the sooner you start, the better. In this example, you are relatively fresh out of college. You're going to start investing at age 25, and you're going to invest $50 every month until you retire, which will be about 40 years from now. And your average annual rate of return is 8%. And 8% is just the common average for the S&P 500 index. So in this example, you're basically just putting $50 every month into a mutual fund or into an ETF that is following the S&P 500 index. So you're starting off with $0. January 1st, 2018, you're going to pull your money out January 1st, 2058, which is 40 years from now. $50 every single month, 8% compounding interest. You're going to make 481 deposits, and you will have ended up investing $24,000 by the time you retire. However, that $24,000 is now going to be worth $175,000, and that's because of that compounding interest, month over month, and annual compounding interest, right? So that's a huge deal. $175,000 come retirement because you put $50 a month away every single month as if it were a phone bill until you're retired. So if you add this $50 into your budget, right, it doesn't seem like, oh, I need to have excess money or whatnot, or oh, you know, I have $200 this month but no money this month. You don't want that sporadic kind of, oh, I finally have excess cash I can invest. No, make it a bill, right? And I'll show you what this looks like in the next videos when we actually go over different budgets. So hopefully the debt optimization and kind of just what a small investment over time looks like come retirement kind of gives you guys a better picture for how you want to set up kind of the most important things of your budget. And hopefully this coupled with the next videos will make everything make sense. Alright, thanks for listening.